Right now at 10, Madison Metro has a new general manager. We'll sit down with her and discuss her priorities for the city's public transit. And a hearing about sexual misconduct and grooming in Wisconsin schools. The criticisms levied by both sides of the aisle. Plus, an annual campaign shines a light on the impacts of heart disease, what's being done to reduce the risk of the disease in construction workers. That's all coming up on News 3 Now at 10. Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us. I'm Sarah Carlson. Eric is off tonight. Madison Metro Transit is under new leadership. Jamie Acton stepped into her new role as Metro's general manager this month. And our Maddie Heimsch sat down with her to ask about bus driver safety, upkeep of bus rapid transit infrastructure, and the status of the north-south route.
We need to build those. They need to be robust. They need to be based in trust.
Jamie Acton, stepping into the role of general manager for Madison Metro Transit, says she's focused on rebuilding relationships between Metro leadership and workers.
We have a really great opportunity to build relationships across the board, whether that's with the operators, whether that's with mechanics and technicians, our admin staff, our planning group, all of that.
She comes into the role after an almost year-long contract negotiation between the city and the union representing Metro employees, and a string of physical attacks against bus drivers.
How do we support them? How do we make sure that they're safe, secure, and whatnot? One of the things that I think is really, really important is, obviously de-escalation training, but also what are the other mitigation efforts that we can take.
This fall marks a year since BRT's signature red lanes were introduced around Madison. Is Metro budgeting for upkeep of that infrastructure?
You don't ever want to put a service out that you don't have plans to maintain, right? And so, yeah, that is definitely part of our budgeting process. A lot of that will depend on our operating budget that we receive from the city, our tax revenues that we receive, and then also our federal funds.
Those lanes, Acton says, will be accounted for during that budget process, as well as construction and rollout plans for the north-south route.
Looking at the deliverables for it and looking at, will it be a one and done, full sail, here you go, cut the ribbon, or will it be a phased approach?
Construction for the north-south route is set for 2027. It'll require new pavement, 2 new traffic signals, and a new shared path for better walking and biking access.
There's been a lot of growth in a really short amount of time, a lot of work, so now is kind of the time to kind of pause essentially and look at the work that's been done and just really evaluate it.
Maddie, thank you. Acton replaces Justin Sturenberg, who resigned from the role during those contract negotiations and driver attacks. Well, in the weather now, widespread frost, unbelievable, is likely tonight. It was just 80, wasn't it, Alex?
I know, yeah, I know. A couple of weeks ago, 80s near 90, and now here we swing right into fall and the thick of it, too, with a hard freeze expected tonight for all of southern Wisconsin. This goes until 9 o'clock Friday morning, a freeze warning. This very well may completely end the growing season for many areas that have not had a hard frost or a hard freeze yet this season. That is cold as 27 in Camp Douglas, 28 in Baraboo, 30 in Madison, 29 in Janesville, and 28 in the Wisconsin River Valley in Lone Rock. And some places could locally get a little bit cooler than this, even into the middle 20s in some cases right now. And here's why. Black River Falls up on 39 is already down to 26, 30 in Camp Douglas, below freezing in the Dells at 31. We're just above freezing, 34 in Madison, still hanging on closer to 40 near the Wisconsin-Illinois border, and down to 30 already in the Lone Rock area. So the temperatures are cooling on down quickly. We've got temperatures that are at freezing to the north and west of Madison. Madison areas off towards the east still hanging on to temperatures just a few degrees above freezing. But will tonight be the only night of frost? When I come back, I'm going to give you a projection and let you know tomorrow night, the weekend, could we have more frosty conditions? I'll let you know.
Alex, thank you. A woman charged with trying to kill her father in Stoughton earlier this year will go to trial. In court today, 34-year-old Jamie Anderson pleaded not guilty to one charge of attempted first-degree intentional homicide with a dangerous weapon and domestic abuse. Prosecutors say Anderson walked 16 miles from her Madison apartment to her father's home in Stoughton to try to kill him. She allegedly told officers she was having hallucinations and thought her father was the devil. Today, state representatives hosted a hearing on sexual misconduct in schools. Both sides of the aisle are upset that State Superintendent Jill Underly did not attend. Underly responded with a video after a local newspaper posted an article saying that the DPI hid 200 sexual misconduct cases from the public by allowing staff to voluntarily surrender their education licenses. DPI says voluntarily surrendering is not a loophole. And the problem is with wording within state statutes.
Be incredibly helpful for us if we had some sort of statutory definition or terms for grooming to work from.
Quite remarkable that the immoral conduct law has been in place for so long and has been applicable for so long without any concerns raised about its interpretation until an investigative report is published in the Cap Times.
All of them, Democrats, Republicans, law enforcement, and the DPI, agree that their main goal is to find ways to avoid sexual misconduct in schools. Well, more than 30 people were arrested in 2 criminal cases that are rocking the professional basketball world. In one, Portland Trailblazers head coach Chauncey Billups and former Milwaukee Buck Damon Jones are accused of being involved in an underground multi-state poker ring backed by the Italian mafia. The other case involves Miami Heat player Terry Rozier. Now, prosecutors say in several games he tipped off others that he would fake an injury. Now, more than 6 million eggs are being recalled for possible salmonella contamination. FDA officials say the Black Sheep Egg Company recalled hundreds of thousands of egg cartons last month. This after testing found 7 strains of salmonella. Those eggs were distributed to retailers and wholesalers nationwide under various brand names. Separately, Ken's Hens is also recalling its grade AA large pasture-raised eggs due to the same concern. No related illnesses have been reported so far. And there's some major pushback against President Trump from America's farmers. The ongoing trade war means China is not purchasing soybeans from American farmers, making the crop unprofitable. So to help ease the pain, the Trump administration said that it will unfreeze $3 billion in aid, but it is a fraction of the $13 billion that farmers expected. Some farmers say these policies are putting their livelihoods at stake.
The tariffs are hurting America's farmers, and we're going to be losing a lot more farmers this fall. And what we really need is a complete farm moratorium at USDA and other agricultural lenders. We shouldn't be losing America's farms while the president, made some bad decisions here with his tariffs.
And there is a new issue for cattle farmers as well. The White House says it may increase beef imports from Argentina, part of a larger $20 billion bailout for the South American country. Well, weeks after a tiny home encampment in Madison shut down due to funds drying up, the city is looking to the private sector to fund its new homeless shelter. Shelter Friends of Dane County Incorporated will raise funds privately for the county's new men's homeless shelter. The group wants to raise between $1 and $1.5 million for the shelter. This comes after Madison's mayor proposed $1 million in new spending for the shelter in her 2026 executive operating budget. Today, she announced the city would be spending even more money on the project.
And I am proud to announce that the city of Madison will match the first $2 million in contributions to the Shelter Friends of Dane County Endowment Fund.
The mayor says that fund will primarily be used as a savings account meant to provide sustainable funding for shelter operations. The city is getting the money from the federal ARPA funds, which need to be spent by the end of 2026. By then, the shelter should be up and running. Well, while heart disease remains the leading cause of death in this country, construction workers are at an even higher risk due to the physical demands of their job. The American Heart Association Madison held its 10th annual Hard Hats with Heart campaign event at Wisconsin Aviation tonight to shine a spotlight on cardiovascular disease and its impact on construction workers. Studies show that 1 in 4 construction workers has high blood pressure, a key risk factor for heart disease and stroke. The goal is to impact the people who work on the ground, helping the Madison area grow every day.
The idea is to impact their lives, teach and bring different programs to them, including like blood pressure screenings, life-saving CPR. There's been the American Heart Association, and because of this event that we've done for 10 years, we've been able to start hands-only CPR training.
The Hard Hats with Heart campaign focuses on integrating health, well-being, and prevention solutions into that industry's culture. Coming up next at 10, Trump administration officials are working to keep the peace in Gaza. And it is now the second longest shutdown in U.S. history. The concerns from federal workers as the gridlock continues. That's next.
You're watching News 3 Now at 10.
Welcome back. This is now the second longest government shutdown in U.S. history, and the latest efforts in Congress to ease the pain of some federal workers were shot down in the Senate. Erica Brown has more from Capitol Hill.
After weeks of working without pay, Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy says some air traffic controllers have to now take second jobs in order to make ends meet.
I don't want them delivering for DoorDash. I don't want them driving Uber. I want them coming to their facilities and controlling the airspace.
Thursday, the Senate failed to advance a Republican proposal to pay federal workers and military members who are working during the shutdown without pay.
The motion is not agreed to.
Democrats who rejected the proposal argued the bill would give the White House broad authority to determine which federal workers get paid and which do not.
You've read the remarks of Russ Vought, the head of OMB. He wants to visit, quote, trauma on federal employees, and he wants to fire a lot of them. He has said so. But that's an important piece here.
The longer the shutdown drags on, the greater the impact on Americans nationwide. Dozens of states have issued warnings that the food assistance program known as SNAP could soon run out of funding.
We are absolutely on the precipice of a hunger emergency.
7 million depend on the WIC program, which provides aid to low-income mothers and young children, while an estimated 41 million Americans rely on SNAP.
The benefits will not be coming if there's no end to the shutdown before November 1.
Now, more than 3 weeks since the shutdown began, there are still no official negotiations underway between Democrat and Republican leaders, or signs that the deadlock could end anytime soon. Erica Brown, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
Secretary of State Marco Rubio arrived in Israel today as the Trump administration tries to keep the peace deal between Israel and Hamas intact. Hours earlier, Vice President J.D. Vance left the Middle East optimistic that the ceasefire will hold, but he also criticized a symbolic vote by hardliners in the Israeli parliament to annex the West Bank. That's land Palestinians want for a future state.
If it was a political stunt, it was a very stupid political stunt, and I personally take some insult to it. The West Bank is not going to be annexed by Israel. The policy of the Trump administration is that the West Bank will not be annexed by Israel.
With momentum in the Middle East, the administration had hoped for progress also with Russia and Ukraine. However, President Trump is no longer planning a second meeting with Russian President Vladimir Putin. Turning to the weather now, it is chilly out there, and I need to get my mums covered, Alex.
Yes. If you have mums, we were talking with Lisa Briggs. I guess the mums that are further out in your yard, you definitely want to consider maybe throwing a blanket over those. But those that are a little bit closer to the house, you might want to bring them inside the garage. Tonight's going to be a widespread frost, hard freeze. Friday, less windy and warmer, and we will warm up this weekend. So we just got to get through tonight's frosty conditions, and we have a little bit more frost, just a wee bit more in the forecast. That freeze warning is from west to east, Prairie du Chien to Lone Rock to Madison, Watertown. We are all under a freeze warning until 9 o'clock on Friday morning. So expect temperatures tomorrow morning like this: 27 in Camp Douglas, 28 in Baraboo, 28 in Lone Rock, 30 in Madison, and 29 in Janesville. This is a hard freeze. This could very well completely end the growing season. And if that is the case for the counties that get cold enough tonight, we may not have more frost advisories or freeze warnings issued by the National Weather Service. But tonight, when we do an analysis tomorrow with the National Weather Service, that will be clear as to whether or not that occurs. 50s tomorrow, so low to mid 50s, sunny skies, pretty nice day overall. But as I mentioned, one more night of frosty conditions. We're going to have some pockets in southern Wisconsin tomorrow night with clear skies, winds light, temperatures getting down into the low to mid 30s. And even those temperatures in the low to mid 30s can sometimes still promote a little bit of frost at the near surface that sometimes gets all the way down to 32. And that's the last night of frost for a while here. Saturday 55, 59 on Sunday, sunny skies, so a pretty nice weekend is in store. We're watching a weather system early to mid next week that could bring some rain showers to much of the Midwest, but we're right on the north peripheral, meaning the north edge of that, and I don't think we're going to get a whole lot from that weather system. As promised in the 6 o'clock newscast, the projection going out into November, warmer than normal for pretty much of the country, cooler than normal for areas towards the American Southeast. And if you want water, doesn't look likely for a good part of the country. We're going to maintain this dry weather pattern for a good portion of the United States. And we could use those raindrops because we do have abnormally dry conditions and moderate drought conditions already in southern Wisconsin. But on, let's say, brighter news here, come visit us, me and Blaze. We will be at the Wisconsin Weather Festival on Saturday from 10 a.m. till 1 p.m. If you ever want to get your hands on a weather computer and look at all of the severe weather tools that we use to track severe weather, and we're not expecting severe weather here, but down towards the Gulf region, they're expecting the potential for severe weather. So we're going to change up some of our radars. And if you come join us at the Wisconsin Energy Institute, Blaze and I will show you how we use those severe weather tools to track severe weather. Again, luckily not here in Wisconsin, but give you that hands-on practice. It will be a good time.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you.
We're excited about that.
Yeah, sounds great. Well, coming up next in sports, Wisconsin football gets ready to take on another top-ranked team. We'll tell you how head coach Luke Fickell is preparing. Well, the road for Wisconsin football has certainly fallen on tough times. Luke Fickell's Badgers have lost 5 straight. And as reporter Nash Dara reports, things don't get any easier against Oregon.
The Wisconsin Badgers haven't scored a point in 8 quarters, and they haven't scored a touchdown in 11. They are currently on a 5-game losing streak and are preparing to head to Eugene, Oregon this Saturday to face the 6th-ranked Oregon Ducks. After another gut punch to the Badgers' season and 30-plus point loss, the seat of Luke Fickell appears to be scorching. But despite recent results for the third-year head coach, he is still under support from athletic director Chris McIntosh.
All support is good support. He'd have to put a letter out for me to know. I think obviously for a lot of others to know, but, having honest conversations with him throughout this entire process is something that, keeps me in the right frame of mind and the right headspace, right? I mean, we've asked about the different things that are swirling out there and whatever it is. Yeah, it affects you, but, when you've got a guy you trust, a guy that's, you call a friend that, obviously can, sit down and have some conversations with you and know where you are, it helps. There's no doubt for our guys and our program, our team. Like I said, it's recognizing and seeing and understanding the support.
Wisconsin's athletic director Chris McIntosh has shared a frustration with Luke Fickell on team success, but as of now, it seems that there will be no change at that head coaching position. At Camp Randall, Nash Dara, News 3 Sports.
Thank you, Nash. And don't forget to check out this week's Wisconsin Huddle. NFL Hall of Famer and former Wisconsin offensive lineman Joe Thomas joins sports director Andrew Banstra to talk about what's going on with the football team and much more. That episode airs tomorrow right here at 6:30 after News 3 Now at 6. Well, it may be a week-to-week league, but we've known about the Packers and Steelers matchup for a while now. And Pittsburgh's quarterback, Aaron Rodgers, says this game holds more weight for him. News 3 Now's senior Packers writer Jason Wilde has more.
Aaron Rodgers will tell you that the NFL is a week-to-week league, and he's known that for the last 21 years. And so while he and his new team, the Pittsburgh Steelers, get ready for Sunday night's matchup against his old team, the Green Bay Packers, the schedule was already out when he joined the Steelers this offseason. And yes, he knew that this game was coming.
it's one of 17 for sure. Obviously, with the 18 years I played there, this one is, a little more special than the other ones. But when I saw that the NFC North was on the schedule and the Jets were on the schedule, I thought that was pretty cool to be able to play all those teams. But I said it a while ago, but this one would mean a lot more if it was in Lambeau, just because of affection I have for that place and, the hallowed ground of Lambeau Field and all the amazing memories that I have there over the years. But, it's a fun one. But the league is so crazy. Like, if you look at the roster, there's not that many guys that I played with still left on the team. That's the interesting part about the league and the roster turnovers that happen, now being 3 years separated from the team. But most of the guys that have reached out this week and that I know really well are not on the team. It's the training staff, it's Adam, in nutrition, and Evan, the photographer, and those guys. So I'm excited to see those guys, especially obviously excited to see J Love and Keyshawn and some of the guys I was with, Rome and Christian. But I'm really excited to see all those guys, and hopefully they'll get out early so I can give them some love and catch up.
We'll see how Rodgers fares against the Packers in his first meeting against his former team, and we'll have full coverage leading into the game and of the game in Pittsburgh on our website, channel3000.com. And while you're there, make sure you sign up for our newsletter, which delivers our Packers coverage directly to your inbox every single day. In Green Bay at Lambeau Field, Jason Wilde, channel3000.com.
Thank you, Jason. And the Packers will hit the road to take on those Pittsburgh Steelers Sunday. Kickoff is set for 7:20 p.m. We can't wait. And that's it for sports. Alex is coming back with a final check of the weather when we come back. Well, finally tonight, maybe she was just lost or looking for a good rosé. Check this out. This deer made quite the entrance to a wine store in Holman, Wisconsin. You can see the deer running across a busy street. I know. Before I get to it, I can tell you the deer was not injured, but crashed through the window of this lush wine bistro. She got spooked. She was leaping over the bar. Then she leaps right back over, managed to make her way out. Aw. Baby looks sort of like maybe it's a doe, right? I don't know. Now they're closed due to a deer invasion. But again, the deer did not appear to be injured, just hard to, run away on that kind of floor.
Look at the leap. Whoa.
I know, right? They do. They know how. So it's freezing out there right now.
Yeah, we were talking earlier, the 80s, and now we're talking mid to upper 20s tonight. Bring in those tender plants. This is the last call for that because temperatures are already falling below freezing across southern Wisconsin. We'll do mid to upper 20s to around 30 for low temperatures. That's why we have that freeze warning for all of southern Wisconsin. This could be very much the end of the growing season, but then our temperatures return back to October values.
All right, thank you, Alex. Thanks for watching, everyone. The Late Show is up next. Our next show tomorrow morning at 4:30. Have a great night.